Okay, so let me preface this really quickly with something. Um, at the end of the last video, I set up the punch warp that I said I used, but the first, like pretty much at the end of that video, I went back and reset up the punch warp with the one I said you should use. So the first like punch warp thing that you're going to see me doing is the one that you should use, or pretty much the one that you'll see, because I don't want to show you really too much of the bad one. I'm just going to show you pretty much what you should be doing with the good one. But anyways, as soon as you enter this load zone, press your frame limiter button that you set up with DxStory. For me, it's 8 on the number pad. So I press it, and as you can see in the top right corner, my frames are limited to 30. Also, you can't use console commands for speedruns, but I'm going to turn on God mode for this so I don't die and lose my punch warp and have to go back and set it up. But let's talk about cover sliding. So why do we cover slide? Cover sliding is a slingshot, and it shoots us across the map, and because we're actually getting slingshotted, that means we can travel through things, which means we can discover locations. It also means that we don't get straight up teleported to the end, and we get slingshotted like not all the way. We'll fall about like halfway. It's pretty rough, like rough estimate, but we don't make it all the way to our location, which is good because we want to stop about halfway in this certain instance. We want to make it to Concord, and also along the way we want to discover Sanctuary, which is right here. So as soon as you get up here, you're going to turn to the left, and you're going to run through this hole in the fence right here, and you're going to run down this cliff face and go to this rock. See this rock right here, how it looks a little different than all the other ones? That's because it's a nice rock. This is the good rock. So cover sliding, it's going to be triggered by us taking out our gun, and we're going to go right, we're going to slingshot that way, and our frame rate is limited. All is looking good in the world, except cover sliding is very finicky, very finicky, like very finicky. I cannot stress that enough. If I stand right here, I'll get a different cover slide than if I was standing right here. Like, see how minute that difference was? The cover slide will most likely end up being different. Maybe it isn't though, but maybe standing here will give a different one. It's just very finicky. You can get very different results from standing in very similar locations. So that means we want to stand in the same spot every time once we find a good spot to stand in. So like, say I say, all right, every time I'm going to look at this little black dot on the left, right? Okay, my reticle is lined up with it. I'm standing in the right spot. Well, not so fast, Sally, because you can stand right here and also look at that black dot. So who's to say you aren't standing here, and then one run you're just standing right here, and you're looking at the black dot both times, but this time you're standing in a different spot than this one, so you'll get a different cover slide. So this means that we have to find a way to make it so that our reticle is always starting off in the same place, and we can always end up standing in the same spot. So turns out there's a nice little corner right here that we can kind of reset our position in. So we stand in this corner, we just will hold back and right and get into this corner, and then we want to look at the same object every time to orient ourselves. So see this little white triangle looking circle thing? I look at the left tip of that. So look at the left tip of that, right? Stand in the corner, look at around the left tip. Now you're going to find your spot, and wherever you end up standing, like whatever you end up looking at, that's going to be the spot that you want to always go to. And you're going to have to experiment around with this a lot to try and find a spot that like just works for you. Because if you stand in the same spot with the same frame rate, you should always get the same results if you stand in the same exact spot. So we always want to stand in the same spot once we find a good frame rate and good spot that works for us. Because one, you have to find a good spot, and two, you have to find a good frame rate. So you're going to have to do a lot of experimenting with trying to find the right spot for you. So I should also say, cover slides, they work differently on every PC. Like, I used to play on a laptop. I used to get really good cover slides for this one on the laptop. Not so much with my new computer, but the new computer is better, so I use it anyways, like as a whole. But pretty much find a spot. It's going to be different, but most people have success with either lining up their reticle to left of this and then going just to the left of this little brown mark right here. Go just to the left of that and then go up to like this lip. Or what you can do is line it up with here and then go like, see this kind of white skid mark right here, like this right here, right there. That it's a lighter one. Go just to the left of that. So you're gonna go like just to the left of that and then up to around this lip, right? Those are the two locations that most people have a lot of success in. Most people have a lot of success with either limiting their frame rate to 30, 20, or 17.5. So try around with those. Maybe something else will work. But once you get into your location, all you're going to do is take out your gun. But also, there's another thing we need to look at. See right here, that little militia man statue? That is the Sanctuary map marker. We want to discover Sanctuary on this cover slide. If you don't, no big deal. It's just a 17-second time loss later on, unless you get a certain cover slide, which we'll go over in a second. But pretty much when you trigger your cover slide by pulling out your gun, you want to stare at that thing and see if it fills in. If it fills in, you discovered Sanctuary. If it went so fast you couldn't tell, wait till you land and there might be a Sanctuary pop up saying, hey, you discovered Sanctuary. If neither of those happened, you didn't discover Sanctuary, which is okay. It's okay. You can still get really, like, I don't think record is possible anymore without Sanctuary with the strats I'm teaching you right now, but you can get really close to record with the current strats without Sanctuary. So it's not required to get a really, really good time, but it's really good if you do get Sanctuary. Anyways, so you're just going to stare at that. You're going to just take out your gun. So I turned on God mode so I won't die for this, because remember, punch warping will be canceled if your punch warp will be like nullified if you die on this cover slide. So you'll have to redo all that. So I'm just going to take out my gun and get slingshotted, and the white marker did fill in. So that means I did discover Sanctuary. Also, I somehow slid really far. This would be an incredible slide. Also, apparently God mode. Was God mode even on? Yeah, I guess it was. This would be an incredible cover slide if I somehow survived this, but I don't think I would. You'll never get this cover slide, ever. I've never got, maybe once I've gotten this cover slide before. But once you land, you unlimit your frame rate. But let's go over the different locations where we can land. So you'll like never land here, never. The good spot to land is it's up here. The good spot to land, where you'll land probably most commonly, maybe not, but is right around here. This is the really good spot to land. And if you do land here, then let me just turn on God mode for this part. I'm also going to make a quick save because we're going to run from there later on. But if you do land from here, you're going to run down here. And you're going to run to this alleyway. Yeah, and we're going to go that way. But you'll see that in a second. The probably second best place you can land is right about here. It's a little further back. It's right about here. Yeah, right around here is the second place you can land. Maybe on top of this little thing. This is the second place you can land. Not too bad. If you land here, you're going to run this way. Run past these cars. You want to be careful with cars, because if you hit them at the right angle, you'll take damage and you'll die. So just don't bump into cars. But you're going to run down here and run down this alleyway, which you'll be seeing again in a second. And the last place you will most commonly land is way back here, by Red Rocket. This is the worst place you can land by far. There is a slight perk to being able to land here. It's not only cloudy days, but it's not the best. So if you land here, first, let's pull up this little notepad I prepared. So remember earlier how I said, based on the amount of intelligence we have, we get more XP, and we want to level up at a certain spot. Well, we'll level up at that certain spot if we do the bare minimum in this game, along with either 1 or 2 extra instances of earning XP. So an instance of earning extra XP includes discovering Sanctuary or Red Rocket, or killing an extra enemy like a dog, or discovering an extra location, or killing a turret. All those apply, and we'll be going through and keeping track on this list here. The first thing that we can get for extra XP is Sanctuary. We could discover it on the cover slide. If you discover Sanctuary, make a mental note, because you need to remember that you discovered Sanctuary. Because that adds towards your extra XP counter. And remember, we don't want to do, we want 1 or 2 of these. Okay, We only want 1 or 2 of these extra XP things. So the first is Discover Sanctuary. So discovering Sanctuary is good because 1, we get 1 extra XP thing, and the second is that it saves 17 seconds later on. What if we don't discover Sanctuary though? Well, if you land in one of the first 2 spots I showed you, like way over to the right over here, then that's okay. Like, you got the decent landing. You're just gonna have to run to Sanctuary later on. But what if you get this bad landing and you didn't discover Sanctuary? Well, then you're actually in luck, because what you can do is just run directly to the left here and discover Red Rocket real quick. Boom, discovered Red Rocket, and now you run this way. So now you have Red Rocket. Because we need a place to build the teleporter at the end of the run, so you can build it at Red Rocket now if you wanted to. So we have to keep track of whether you get Sanctuary or Red Rocket or neither. But say we got neither, or say we landed here, because there's one other thing I have to show you when we land here. This house right here actually has a Nuka-Cola Quantum in it, and if you're fast, you can run in and grab it, and that takes about 6 seconds, and Quantum saves 7 seconds, so that's a 1 second saved if you do that correctly. But regardless, you're going to run down this road, and you're going to run down the road to the Museum of Freedom there. But let's digress back to the landing spot that will most likely happen, most likely happen. So we're in this spot, we land here, we run, we unlimit our frame rate, and we're going to run this way. We're going to start managing our AP as well. Pretty much you want to sprint this way, and you want to stop sprinting at this certain spot. As soon as we enter that alleyway with the red toolbox, we're going to stop sprinting. So we turn this corner and press shift again to stop sprinting. So now that we're in this alleyway, we want to run up to this toolbox and loot it real quick and hopefully get a jet or buff out. So we're going to run by, not sprinting, check for jet buff out. We didn't get either, but then we're just going to turn this corner and run down here. We're going to ignore him, ignore them, pretty much just get down here to around where that shadow is, and we're going to discover the Museum of Freedom. Now, right here, there's a dead body right here, a dead Minuteman. That guy can spawn with what's called a Minuteman outfit on him, and it's like a white jacket and blue pants. If the Minuteman outfit spawns on him, remember, white jacket, blue pants, make a mental note that that's there, because we'll need to loot that later. Regardless, we want to get up to here and discover the Museum of Freedom, and then we're going to trigger our punch warp by either melee attacking this guy or this guy in VATS. Now, remember what I said? We're using the VATS, the punch warp that I discussed, like the first one I said in the last video, where I said you should learn this one, where you like picked up the cone and held it the whole time, and then clipped in the spot that I'm bad at clipping. We have that punch warp currently set up because I set it up before I did this video, just so we can show you the punch warp that you need to do. So we're going to pretty much run up to here and melee attack one of these guys in VATS. But there's a couple extra things to this glitch, and this may seem like a lot. I'm sorry, but there's just a lot to go over in this part. Lot to go over in this part. It's really easy. It's just a lot to explain. So remember that button that I told you to bind at the start of the run, or at the start, I told you to bind across the keyboard. This one right here, toggle always run. We actually are going to press that button coming up really soon. We're going to press that right before we trigger our VATS, right after we discover the Museum of Freedom, because it helps us space something out. It helps us with this up warp. So pretty much when we punch warp, we're going to be placed, we're going to be teleported to the middle of the map, but we're actually going to be under the map. So we're going to pretty much fall until we hit an invisible boundary way under the map, and it'll teleport us to directly above where we are, or like a random, like this. It's weird how up warps work, but typically it'll be directly above to where you are. So we need to perfectly place ourselves to this one spot, and the way we perfectly place it is by right before we trigger our punch warp, we press this button so we're walking, and then we trigger our punch warp, and we immediately start holding A and S. And we don't move our camera, and as we fall, we just hold A and S while we have that toggle always run thing going. And then once you like actually get up warped to the map, then you just press the button again and you start running. But if you do the other punch warp setup, the one that I normally do, you just have to look north and hold S, but this one you just turn on the top, or you just toggle the run and just hold A and S and it'll work. But here's what it looks like. So we're going to run up to here. Oh, actually I shouldn't be sprinting. So you're gonna run up to here, turn it on, do that, hold, oh fuck, I'm an idiot. That was really bad of me. I forgot to mention you need to equip the security baton. So let us actually go back and reset up the punch warp. So shit, I'm such an idiot. So COC Vault 111. I think it's int. No, it might be 001. Okay, let me look this up real quick. Sorry for this technical this is a good example of what not to do. So make sure as soon as you land your cover slide, you mash 3 to, I think no, it's cryo. You mash 3 to equip your security baton, because you don't want to do what I just did, because I'm really dumb. So I'm just gonna set up that punch warp again. There we go, it's set up. So now, because punch warps are stored through saves, I can just quick load, and I'll be the character again. So here we go. Equip my security baton. It's equipped now. I'm going to start running. Let's go over the steps of what we need to do again. We jump over here. We can actually toggle to always run now. And now when we don't sprint, we will be... Actually, we can't do that yet. So now... Okay, sorry. Ignore everything I just said in the past 30 seconds. Sorry, I haven't done this whole tutorial shit in a while. So you land, you go, equip the security baton. I apologize for all this. It's just... I'm sorry. That's all I can say. If you get to know me, you'll know I'm an idiot. Just run this way. Run this way. Turn this corner. Turn this corner. Stop sprinting. Just walk. Loot this. Keep going. Go. Check for Minuteman outfit. That's a Minuteman outfit right there. That white, tan, beige upper body with pants, like jeans, that's the Minuteman outfit. Make a note of that. Mental note. Mental note. That's good. Run up to this. Discover that. Trigger the punch warp while also having turned on the always walk. And hold A and S and don't move your camera. Don't sprint. Hold A and S. Don't move the camera. Fuck! I'm an idiot. Okay. Another fun little thing. There's actually a glitch. This is good for you to see. This is good. It's good that I'm making this mistake. This is good for you to see. Because there's actually a glitch where that will happen if you don't do your cover slide. So we need to do the cover slide. So this is a good way to practice as well. If you've made it this far and you're in the Discord, shoot me a message and say, Tommy, you're an idiot. Okay, okay. So here we go. So get the rad roach's attention. Come over to here. Do this thing. 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 Also, if you ever watch my stream, you'll know this is completely in character for me. But it's good. It's good that you see this. There's a glitch where that can happen if you don't do your cover slide. So always do your cover slide. Always do your cover slide, kids. I'm going to turn on God mode so I don't die on the cover slide. But yeah, remember, we're going to do the punch warp and hold A and S. Okay? Okay. Sorry if this is long. I'm not even going to edit it because you need to see this. You need to see how dumb this shit can be sometimes. Just so you know, like, what can happen. This is a disaster. This is the one part, though, that has the most that can go wrong. I promise the other videos in this tutorial series won't be this bad. It's just this part, there's a lot that can go wrong. So, yeah. This is the one part where shit hits the fan all the time. So you get into this spot, get into your location, trigger your cover slide. Didn't get Sanctuary, so we don't have Sanctuary now. Somehow got conquered again. Let me actually go up to the spot because I want to do it from, well, it's not RCO. I want to do it from the location that we'll be doing it from, you know. I want to sprint freely. I want to be doing it from the spot that we'll be landing at because that's important. So turn off God mode. You land, equip your security baton, start running. Okay, this is how it should go. Okay, run. You're gonna run. Again, I apologize for how bad this is. You're gonna run, 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 run. Stop running. Loot the toolbox. We got Jet. Run. There's no Minuteman outfit. Or now we're walking. Run up to this dude. Turn on the always walk. Hold A and S. Okay? Now we're holding A and S. We're under the map now. We're under the map. We're falling to the center of the map. Okay, now we just upwarped. Right? Look, we're next to this big building. Okay? And again, if you use the other punch warp setup, just look north, hold S. But now look, we're next to this big ol' ass building. This is Green Tech Genetics. This is good. Green Tech Genetics is a place we need to go later in the run. So we need to discover this location. So if you messed up your upwarp, you'll be over in that Raider encampment most likely. If that happened, just run east. Regardless, once you land, you want to toggle back on the run, and you run this way and you discover Green Tech Genetics. And now you run this way and you can re-equip your pistol. You're going to run this way. You're going to jump this little barrier. I've got boofed on my jump. I'm going to run past all these raiders. Make sure that you're not too low on health. You're going to run over here. Jump over here. And you're going to enter this sewer. Okay, let's move on with the run. Yeah. As soon as you enter the sewer, you're going to quit to the main menu. And then you're going to mash E to re-continue. And the reason for this is that when you load a save that was made underwater, you load in at the top of the water. This was done by Bethesda to make sure people didn't soft lock themselves with drowning. So you load in at the top of the water. It turns out that on top of the water in this area is out of bounds. So now we're out of bounds in this sewer area. And it also turns out that right over here is the trigger for the last quest in the game. So we're about to get the last quest in the game. But in order to get it, you need to swim down. You swim between these pipes. You're going to swim up and see how there's this white area right next to this big ol' ass pipe. Okay, there's this white area, right? You're going to swim up into this white area while facing east, and then you're going to keep holding W, and right as soon as you get out of the water and face east, you're going to turn north and go north for about half a second while still holding W, and then you're going to turn and face west while still holding W. So it looks like this, north, west. There you go. And now you land, you're back at the entrance to the pipe, and you now have the nuclear option, which is the last quest in the game. So again, quit to the main menu, mash E to continue, swim down between the pipes, go up in that white spot, hold W, east, north, west, half a second each, and then you just keep looking west. And now you're going out the sewer pipe. And now we have the last quest in the game. There we go. Thank God we made it through this section. That was a disaster, but I warned you beforehand there was going to be a lot in this section because there's a lot to explain because we do a lot of important glitches for the first time. Okay, so now this is all done. I apologize for how off the rails this section was, but that's just how this section is in this game. It's very off the rails. Anyways, if you have any questions, again, I apologize for how terrible this part was, but it's important that you see all the shit that can go wrong. Now that we're out of the sewer, I'll continue with this part in the next video where things will hopefully be back on the rails. And again, we didn't get Sanctuary in this version because we had to reload the shit. We didn't have Museum of Freedom or Minuteman outfit, but we did get Jet. But I'll still go over everything as if we didn't get any of those or we did get some of those. Just keep watching. I apologize. DM me on Discord and say, past you told me to tell future you're an idiot. Yeah, anyways, next video is shopping in Museum of Freedom.